What is up, guys? My name is Pocketcraft, and welcome back to the Minecraft Pocket Edition Survival Guide. So in today's episode, we're going to be building an automatic kelp farm and automatic kelp smelter. And so this will allow you to not only continuously grow kelp, obviously, and get as much kelp as you want, but it'll dry the kelp out for you so you can turn it into dried kelp blocks and have pretty much infinite fuel. And that infinite fuel will not only run this, but you can use it to run a super smelter as well, which is awesome because that's something I've really been needing in this world. And I have a couple build projects that I've planned for the future, but they need some things to be smelted in mass quantities. And so I decided I'd make this first so we can make a pretty good super smelter without having to go mine an insane amount of coal. And so I'll show you guys a tutorial how to do this right now. It's by Skippy Gaming, so credit goes to him. I'll link his channel down in the description if I remember. We'll go through this, and then I have some build stuff I want to do later. The materials will all be down in the description as well, by the way, so you can just go check that, see what materials you need if you want to follow along and build this. And as always, the world seed is in there as well in case you guys want to play along in this world. But the first thing you're going to do is put down 9 blocks of sand. And so we'll do that right here. You could have this just above, but I think it's a little bit easier to put it in the ground. And the next thing that you need to do is grab any type of block. I'm going to use prismarine bricks, I think, but you can use any solid block you want, and place them behind like this. And then I believe we do this one more time. And the next one is actually something that you will replace eventually. You'll replace these with pistons at some point. But for now, you're going to keep them here just to make things a little bit easier. And then I'm going to put a temporary block right here just so I can get up and reach easier. But we need to put 9 observers on top facing this way. And I'm going to have to make a couple temporary blocks because I'm a little bit short and don't want to be jumping up and down like a madman. But we're going to put these 9 observers just like this. Let's see if we can get them all. Okay, those 2 are the wrong direction, so we'll have to redo that. I was hoping I wouldn't have to put another block, but that's all right. Let's go grab this guy. And so, I mean, this isn't the most efficient one in the world, but it's pretty dang efficient. It'll get you in a lot of kelp really fast. But more importantly, it's, at least in my opinion, is it's easy to build. It's not going to take a bunch of weird slime block mechanics or other difficult things to do. After you have these pistons up here, you're going to put a block behind each of them, just where the pistons are going to be going eventually. You'll put a block there. And then we'll hop up here really quickly because we need to put some redstone dust on top of each of these, just like that, to get these suckers powered. And so we'll get those going right there, and that's perfect, just like that. And now what we need to do is repeat the same pattern, so we can have 2 layers of this. Theoretically, you could I probably wouldn't go more than 2 layers high, but you could do another one of these right next to it if you really need more production, but I think, honestly, this should be plenty. But what we're going to do then is we'll put a placeholder block right there, so we can put another prismarine block right there. We'll get rid of that cobblestone, and then we're going to do 9 blocks again, just like this, going all the way back. And then we'll have another row on top, just like we did earlier. This one, once again, will be removed later with pistons. Theoretically, you could just put the piston here now, but it'll be a little bit easier to get them correctly if you do it later. And then you can actually probably just do the second row right here, because this is where the redstone dust is going to go. It might be a little bit easier to place it right now before you add the observers. In fact, I think it'll be a lot easier, so I definitely recommend doing that. And then what you're going to do is put your observers, make sure they're facing this way again, which should be pretty easy if you do it like this. So we'll get these guys going just like this. Boom, boom. Then you have all 18 of your observers there. And then we'll just put the redstone right here. Now this build does require a fair amount of iron because of all the hoppers. So if you need iron, check out my iron farm. It's super easy to build. We'll get you plenty of iron. So if you need iron, I definitely recommend doing that. All right, next up what we're going to do is we're going to put a crafting table right there. And then we're going to fill this front area here with glass. And we're going to go all the way up to the second area of sand. So I'm going to do that really quickly because you probably don't want to watch. But go a block above the second area of sand. So right here, but all the way across. And I'll do that really quickly. All right, so I've got the glass built up. And I actually need to be on top of the glass. But unfortunately, I had to come down to go to bed in the game, not in real life. And so we're going to put some placeholder blocks here, which we actually are going to want to do anyways. And so that's totally fine. Doesn't mess anything up. But what we do need to do is make sure we put a smoker right here, I believe. Yeah, put a smoker right there. And then what we need to do is, I think I actually need to put, Then we actually need to go 1 block higher on our placeholder blocks, I believe. Then we need to put 1 hopper going right into the smoker, just like that. And then go back here, putting all these hoppers facing right into each other, just like this. And we'll probably need a placeholder block for this last one, just so we can get over here. We'll put that just like that. And then we can break this placeholder block because we don't need that. And then we need to come over here. And I just realized I placed these blocks in the wrong spot. So get rid of all these left ones right here. We don't need those. The placeholder blocks need to be right here, these two right here. And that's just going to be for the ease of putting the chests in here. So how the chests are going to go, we need to have 2 on the top right there, then skip 1, put them right there, and then right there, and then right there. And then the last ones go right there. My shulker box is kind of in the way, but you can see. Then we need to put 1 going into it like that, just like that. And then we need to put the rest going into these. So I actually messed something up really quickly, so we're gonna have to fix that. The crafting table I put in the wrong spot. So we need to put these going all into each other, right? And the crafting table is actually supposed to go right here, so it's out of the way. And so that was my bad. So we'll put that right there, so that all works. But this should all be working perfectly, and that's how that's supposed to go. All right, next up, we need to put a block right here because we need to lock this hopper. And so what we're going to need to do is, I realized I left my lever down there. Let's see if I can reach my shulker box from here. Come on. Oh, that's depressing. Okay. All right, we're back up here with the lever now. So we need to come back here, put the lever right there. And this will allow us to lock or not lock this hopper depending on whether or not we want to. And so the next thing that we're going to need to do is probably close this up would be a good idea, right? And so we'll come down here. We need to place blocks coming up like this and go all the way up to the hoppers. And then over here, it'll actually be not that difficult to close up. We can just go like that, and that'll close this side up. Then we'll want to do the same thing on the other side over here, right? And we can actually probably get rid of these placeholder blocks that we have, this cobblestone over here. We don't need that, and so we'll probably get rid of that really quickly. So just mine this stuff down. Technically, you could leave it if you want, but there's really no reason behind it. It just makes it easier to put the chests in there. And so that's looking perfect. Just like now what we need to do is place our water, which is probably the most difficult part just because we need to have a water source block in this entire area. And so this is going to take a little bit of time, but it's really not that bad, especially if you have 2 buckets and you can make a water source over here and make it go a little bit quicker. But we need 1 right there. I think the easiest way is probably put 1 right there, and then if you put 1 right here, it'll make this one an infinite water source right here. And so you can actually just keep making them pretty easy if you do it like that. And I just took the wrong one. I took the wrong one again. All right, you take this one right here in the middle because it'll get filled up. And then you can make these all water sources pretty easy. And then you need to do that going all the way up to the observer. And so I'm going to do that really quickly. And I think we almost have this level. Okay, this level is all water sources now, which will make things a little bit easier. And we'll get both of these suckers right here because we need to get a water source right here. And then we'll just do the same thing we did over here where we'll put a water source right there because then this will be an infinite water source. And let's go up here and we can get this guy. And so I'm going to keep doing it. Just go to the height of the observers here. All right, so you'll be able to tell that they're all infinite water sources because none of it will be flowing water. It'll all just be still. And now that we have this done, the next thing that we need to do is put in all of our pistons. So just break these blocks and then put your pistons in. Make sure they're facing this direction. And the water will go flowing for a second when you have it broken, but as soon as you put in the other piston, it'll be fine. But you put all these in, and then once you have all these in, you need to get up here. And so the easiest way to do that is you're probably going to have to, not probably, you're going to have to break one of these sand blocks real quick, and then just put it back in, put the sand block out, and then we can move on to the next step. All right, so the next step here is we're going to put all our kelp down at the bottom. Theoretically, you could start with just 1 piece of kelp and then grow more, but that would be really slow, and kelp it's pretty easy to get originally. And so if I were you, I would just get a good enough amount to fill this whole thing up, which really doesn't take that much. You'd only need 18 kelp. But once you have the bottom row full, we got to keep doing the same pattern that we've been doing. So we'll put source block here, source block there, make both of these water sources. Then we can get those, and then we'll go right here. Then you can just fill that up right here, fill that up, right here, fill that up, and then just keep doing that all the way through. And then now that we've got this row done, you're going to want your second bucket of water. And we're going to have to do the same thing actually over here, going all the way up. I actually just do these 2 layers because the third layer is a little bit more complicated. But I'll show you just a second because it's a little bit different now that we have 2 like layers. It's 2 wide instead of 1 wide. And so it's not much more difficult. In fact, it's probably almost a little bit easier. But, well, maybe not a little bit easier, because they do flow downwards. And so what you want to do is you just need to put a source block in every single one of these. But luckily, you do already have a bunch of water sources right below you that you've made. So it won't be too hard to actually get the water that you need. So you can just fill that up right there, just like that. And then you can put these right here, put this right here. And then we just do the same pattern like this. And then I think it'd be a little bit easier is leave that one like that, because if you take rid of that block right there to get water, then it will not be a source block anymore, and you need it to be. So you'll want to do that. And I actually have a third bucket, which I think will make this a little bit easier. And so you'll put a water source right there, and then I think if you put one right here, it should make all of these ones water sources. Yep, it did. Awesome. So these are all now water sources, and I believe I can take water from here, and it's fine. Yep, which is perfect. So now you need to do the exact same thing to this layer, and then I'll show you what to do for the third layer. Sweet. So once you have that all filled in, we need to replace these with pistons, just like we did earlier. Same exact process, no biggie at all. So once you have all the pistons filled in, it's going to look like this. And you're going to want to go back on these hoppers probably so you have a little bit more room, because we need to put a source block just on all the observers. So not in the next row here, it'll go over and fall down, but just here on the observers. And now every single time you do this, it's going to make all the pistons fire, at least it should. So you'll probably want to be over here. So just like that, it'll fire. And I think you could probably put one right here, and it'll make a source block in front of that other piston, which is super nice. And so we can just keep doing that. We'll have to go down here and fill up our water buckets, which that's the really convenient thing about this thing, is it actually makes water sources for you, which is super nice. And so we'll just keep doing that. And we should just have to put this last one right here. And I believe those are all water sources. Let's check. I think the easiest way to check would be to take that right there, and it gets filled right back in. Perfect. So these are all water sources. I'm actually just going to fill up my bucket while I'm here. But these are all full, which is awesome. Now, the next thing that we need to do is fill up this part with kelp right here. And we're getting pretty dang close to the end here. I accidentally put that too high, but we'll just put it right here. And now we'll make sure you haven't flipped this switch yet, because you're probably going to want that on. That's mainly just if you don't want the kelp to get cooked, or if you want to stop the farm or something like that. But otherwise, I just wouldn't flip that switch, keep it going. But we'll see if it works. We just need to grow up this kelp with our hand here, like that, and boom. It all gets broken. And now some of that went in our inventory because we were in the way, but we will have something blocking this so that doesn't happen. But it does work perfectly, which is awesome. So we just need to go into the last couple of finishing touches to make this work. So while you're up here, before you get down, you're going to want to fill in the top here. Just close it up nice and easy so that the kelp doesn't come out, because it will bounce up and down. If you don't have this here, you're going to lose a lot of kelp. And so this will make it so you don't lose nearly as much. You may still lose a little bit here and there, but it'll produce enough that you'll be fine. And just occasionally, we all know with Minecraft, sometimes there's some glitches that will happen where things get stuck in weird places, but nothing that it'll break your farm or anything. You'll still be totally fine, get tons of kelp, so don't worry about that. And so this is pretty much it, actually. We're almost done. There's just one final step to make this work. But before I say that, I want to invite you guys all, if you're enjoying this video, if it's helping you out, if you're building this, please hit that like button. It just takes a second of your time, but it helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm, and I would really, really appreciate it. So just hit that like button real quick and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as you can see, that's one of the glitches I was talking about. Sometimes it'll get like stuck between the hopper and the glass, but that's no big deal. It'll still produce tons and tons of kelp. It won't make big of a difference at all. But the last thing we need to do is fill this up with just a little bit of fuel. And so you could just do dried kelp blocks. I don't actually even have any of those yet. And so what I'm going to do to get it started is just do some coal. And so that coal is going to get fed into here. And as you can see, some of the kelp has already gone in here. And so this kelp will turn into dried kelp, which is going to bring it down all the way into these right here. And then you can use this dried kelp to turn it into dried kelp blocks. And then you can refeed those back up here to keep the farm moving. And that'll be the source once you run out of the coal. And then this will be weigh so much more than you'll need, right? It'll much exceed itself, and so you can use that other dried kelp for your super smelters or fuel sources or whatever you need. But that's just it for the tutorial, but the video is not even close to over, because I've been thinking for a while that I need to like make these farms look better instead of just having random farms laying around. But I've been procrastinating it because I don't want to do it because I'm not very good at building, and so I don't want to do it. But I've decided I finally need to start trying to make these look a little bit better. And I think the only way I'm ever going to do it is if I do it in every single episode that I'm making a farm. I also build something around it to make it look nice. So that's what we're going to try and do today. And besides, I've realized the only way I'm actually going to get better at building is by building, which is a tip for you guys right there. So we're going to go for it. And so I think the main palette I'm going to go for here is kind of dark oak with bone blocks, I think is what I want to try. And so I don't know how well that's going to turn out, but I think it might look okay. So we're going to try that really quickly. And I think, like I said, my main thing here is I'm kind of experimenting just to figure out how to make things look good. And I'm not even sure what kind of design I want. I mainly just want something where I can walk in here. And there's a couple reasons why this is actually going to be nice. I'm going to make it kind of like a house. One, because until I end up building the actual like AFK house that I'm going to have here, it'll give me somewhere to AFK safely. But as well, I think it'll look nice. It'll look almost like a little village here. So what I think we're going to start with is some bone blocks up front, and I'm kind of thinking that we'll have like an expanded area here. So let's see, that should be good right there. We'll have plenty of room for a door, but then I want to go a little bit outwards, have it a little bit angled. This might be not enough of an angle, but that's all right. I think it'll be fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that, and let's make sure this is in line with that. I don't know if it actually is. I think, let's see here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 over, and 3 down like that. And let's see if it's the same here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, no, it is not. So let's go one more. Actually, it's probably, we'll just do it just to make it a little bit nicer. We'll go, I think it should just be right there, maybe then. Would be the equivalent. I'm not really sure. But what I'm thinking is we'll connect it with some of these. We're going to have some pillars of bone blocks just because I don't have as many of those. And I can make more. I have plenty of bones, but it's just a hassle to make it. And so I'm going to start on making the frame of this, and then I'll bring you guys back. All right, so this is the outline here. I really like the front. The sides and back I'm not so sure about. Originally I was going for kind of a rounded design, but then I kind of ended up having the back look almost warehousey, right? These look like kind of warehouse gates. And then the front still looks kind of rounded. I'm not really sure how it looks all together, and then I haven't filled in the sides yet. But I also need to figure out what to do for the roof. And so for the sides here, I think out of consistency, because I don't really think I want, like, I don't think I want windows here because it's just going to show all the chests, which isn't very good looking, right? But the issue here is the chests are kind of in the way. I should have brought this out one more, which theoretically I still could. It would kind of mess up the whole balance, though, is the only issue. And so, I mean, I could just do this, but that's going to make it look really blocky if I just fill this all in like this. I wonder, is there any way I can make a pattern that seems like that? I guess that's kind of okay. I don't know. I don't think it's really that good, but it might look all right. And this is kind of I think this is what I'm going to try and do a lot from now on, is just do these kind of builds where I just kind of mess around a little bit. And I don't know if mess around is the right word, but just I kind of experiment, I think is a better word. And I don't want to block on top of that chest at all. Here, it's probably easiest so I just crouch, then put it right there. Sweet. Then we can get rid of this block. But I think if I just keep experimenting, eventually I'm bound to get better, right? And so I think this is the best way. Plus, I want builds in my world instead of just farms. I want things that actually like are things. And so that's what we're going to try and do here. And then it may not be symmetrical, but this other side, I think we can actually we'll just go in like this. And I think that's probably the best way to do things. And it may not look the greatest, but I think it'll end up looking all right. Now, the thing I really don't know is the roof. I kind of want like almost a dome roof, right? But I got to figure out what kind of material I would use for that. Because I don't know what would go well with with these blocks, right? Because they don't have bone block slabs, unfortunately. That would be kind of cool. I don't think they have... Obviously, they don't have wool slabs. And so we couldn't do that, like white wool slabs. We could do like quartz maybe, or iron. I don't think quartz has it. We could do smooth stone. I don't think I would like that very much. Maybe we'll just try and make it look like a 2-story house. Maybe like a modern style house where it just kind of has like a flat roof. That might end up looking better. And I mean, we're not like living in here, right? This isn't our house. It doesn't need to look perfect, but I'd like it to look good. So maybe what we'll do is kind of bring in the pillars one and make it kind of like an interesting multi-level house where the top's a little bit thinner. And then go from there. I think that's what I'm going to try and do. I'll do it right now, and we'll see if it looks okay or not. Also, I mean, I haven't been going for very long, but I'm just kind of curious to check on the farm. I don't know if any of it will have gone. Oh, wow, that's actually really efficient. Okay, I did not think it would be that fast, to be honest with you guys. That's already 38 of those. And so I wonder, do you need 9 of these to make... Oh, 39. Look at that. Do you need 9 of these to make a coral block? You do. Dried kelp block, I mean. So that isn't an insane amount, but we'll put those up there just to keep things going a little bit. But I like that, guys. I'm happy with this. This is going well. I did drop that block right there. Let's see. Yeah, I think this should be very productive and go for quite a while. So I'm going to start working on the next level, and then I'll bring you guys back and we talk a little bit about how it went. All right, I applied most of the finishing touches, and it looks like there's actually a block out of place there, which is a little embarrassing. There we go. Take care of that. And I mean, it's not the best in the world, but I think I'm happy with it. It could definitely look better, but it definitely adds a little bit more character to this area. I really should go with some sort of theme, because this next to the bee thing makes no sense at all. But these are farms, so it's not that important, I guess, because this isn't like my main part of my base or anything. But I like it. It's really small in here, obviously, but it doesn't really matter. All I got to do is sit in here and collect the drops, so I don't mind that at all. And I think okay, yep, this is where the issue came in. That's because I put a block there where I should have put it there just to cover some stuff up. But that doesn't really matter. It's not super important. So that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Any suggestions you guys might have. I feel like this area right here where my circle is really empty, and I should fill something there, but I don't know what to put there. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. But I don't really want to go for windows, which is what I would usually do, because it's just going to show the farm and like hoppers and stuff, so that'd look weird. Usually I would put more windows on a build. I always like windows. I think they make things look better, but I don't want windows just showing a bunch of redstone stuff. That would look weird. But that's probably going to be it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel if you're new. But I hope you guys all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in that next video.